Okay. Want to make a quick video on how to do simple circuits with Qucs. Don't record my desktop twice. Open Qucs. There you go. Okay, I'm going to go full screen. Qucs is free software. We're going to do simple DC circuits. We're going to do a new one. We just want to do a voltage source, and we want to do a resistor, and then we want to do a little bit of analysis, come up with the current, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to call this SimpleCircuit. And then I'm going to create it. And schematics, let's see, components is what I want. Okay. Had to go to components. Here's my tab, project, content, components. So project tells me what circuits I have done in the past. Yours, obviously, if you're just starting Qucs, you wouldn't have all that. And then content, and then the actual components. Now, components has a drop-down window, so you can get different components from different places. So we'll see what we can get out of lump components. First thing we want is we want a resistor. So I'm going to click on it and then move my mouse over somewhere in the middle of my field, and I'm going to drop it. The other thing we want is a current probe. We will want to know the current in that circuit. And voltage, we don't necessarily need the voltage because this is going to be a very simple circuit. One thing that's fundamental with Qucs is you always have to have a ground, because that's how it does its analysis. So there's those three things. We're going to want to do a voltage source. So we're going to look for a voltage source. We're not going to see one here that I see, so we're going to go in here and say, ooh, lump components, sources. DC voltage source is the first thing, so this is going to be a simple DC circuit. There's my DC voltage source. Okay, as you can see, it is following around, so if I click again, I'm going to have a second voltage source. If you want to get out of that, just hit escape, and it drops you out. Or you could go up here and click on this arrow. Now we got to connect the dots. So here's my wire, if you will. So I click on that, I highlight it, so now I can connect the dots between all my components. What I want to do is I want to do a circuit that is 15 volts and 2.2 k ohms. As you can see, when I dropped my components in there were default values, and they weren't what I wanted, so we have to go in and change them. Now I've got that cursor in there where it wants me to do a line, so if I go up and click on the arrow, I lose it, so it will let me select now components, and I should be able to open it up and get a dialog. There it is. I'm clicking on the device, I got a dialog. It's telling me my voltage, and default is 1. I want 15 volts. And then we'll hit OK or apply. Well, if I can do it. The mouse is slipping too far down. So now I got a 15 volt source. My current meter is my current meter, and then I'm going to come up here and do the same thing. I'm double clicking on the resistor. It's telling me it's 50 ohm, so I want a 2.2 K. I think you got to put the K right beside it or it won't work. We'll see here in a minute. I'm going to click OK. I can do temperature effects. I can do everything else. We want to just stay basic. Once you get to where you want to do a little more design, see how circuits might work in different environments, then yes, absolutely, Qucs could do it for you. Okay? So that's the simple circuit I want to build. Now I want to analyze it a little bit. So I don't have any analysis here. So I'm going to go to the tab for simulations. I'm going to do a DC simulation. In the first part of DC AC, that's the only simulation we'll do is a DC simulation. And then I can double click on that and it can tell me what my temperature is and everything else as far as degrees. I shouldn't have to make any changes there. Just click it, drag it in there, let it go. So you can't simulate unless you've got a simulation command, so you got to pull one down from somewhere, and these are your options. And so now I want to simulate circuit, so I'm going to F2, and it's going to tell me to save it as a document name. Now I created a new project, but I haven't saved it yet, so I'm going to do SimpleCircuit. IRCUIT. And I'm going to hit save. Okay. It opened up another window, a display window. This is a schematic window, this is a display window. And when it opened the display window, it gave me diagrams that I can look at in terms of seeing. So I'm just going to pull out a tabular form. I can see what the voltage is. I can see what the current is. So if I just double click on those, it tells me what's available. I can put it on my graph and I can click OK. Actually it's telling me what the voltage source current is. That's what that I is. So my voltage source current is, it is sourcing 0.00682, which would be amps, and my current meter is reading 0.00682 amps. So if I go back to my circuit, then I know that I have 0.00682 amps flowing in my circuit, which would be 6 milliamps. Yep, 6.82 milliamps. So I came up with the current. Very easy to do. Don't have to do any calculation or anything. You just got to realize it's in math. The reason this is negative is because it's actually got current flowing out of the positive terminal as it sources the circuit, so it's actually negative. And that's just the way Qucs does it. I think it's doing it in terms of electron flow, but you can sort of figure out what your current should be. The minus is only a direction, usually with current. So there's my circuit, and my voltage 15 volts, 2.2 k ohms, so almost 7, just under 7 milliamps, which would be about right if I multiply it out. And that's how you do it. So you can simulate circuits if you want to do a different one, like the one that I suggest. Just go File, New, and then you get you a new page. You can drag and drop whatever you want on there. And then when you go to simulate it, it will tell you to it will ask you what to simulate. Assuming you have titled it as something else, you can select it, and you have actual schematic, and you have the DC simulation card. Anyway, that's how easy it is. Man, this would have been much nicer back in the day. Alrighty.